In 2011, a Bloomberg reporter asked Elon Musk about his Chinese competitor, a company called BYD. Musk laughed. He didn't even consider them a rival. 14 years later, the company he laughed off sold 2.25 million pure electric vehicles in a single year, beating Tesla for the first time in history. But this isn't just a story about a car company. It's the story of an orphan from a poor village, a 250,000 yuan loan from his cousin, and 30 years of relentless obsession. How he built an empire that now employs nearly 1 million people and files a new patent every half hour of the working day. This is the story of BYD. Wang Chuanfu was born in 1966 into a poor farming family in Anhui province. Both of his parents died while he was still a teenager. His only way out of poverty was his mind. He studied metallurgical chemistry, then earned a master's degree specializing in batteries. After working as a government researcher, he spotted something everyone else had missed. The battery industry was worth billions of dollars, and nearly all of it was controlled by Japan. Wang saw an opening that no one else was looking at. On February 10, 1995, at the age of 29, Wang founded BYD alongside his cousin Lu Xiangyang. Their starting capital, a loan of 250,000 yuan, roughly $30,000. The strategy was straightforward at first. Reverse engineering. BYD bought Sony and Sanyo batteries, took them apart, studied them, and tried to build something better. But the real innovation wasn't in the product. It was in how it was made. Japanese factories relied on expensive robots. Wang did the exact opposite. He broke down production into small, simple steps that could be handled by thousands of low-cost workers on manual assembly lines. Production costs plummeted by 5 to 6 times. This philosophy, make everything yourself, control every link in the chain, would become BYD's DNA forever. Within a few years, BYD had become China's largest rechargeable battery manufacturer. But what's even more remarkable is that Wang didn't stop at batteries. In 2002, BYD listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, raising 1.6 billion Hong Kong dollars. Then Wang did something that infuriated his investors. He took that money and used it to buy a dying car factory. In January 2003, he acquired Qinchuan Automobile, a struggling small car factory owned by a state defense enterprise, for 269 million Hong Kong dollars. Just picture it, a cell phone battery company suddenly deciding to make cars. BYD's stock tanked. Investors thought Wang had completely lost his mind. But Wang had a vision that wouldn't make sense until a decade later. He didn't just want to build cars, he wanted to merge his battery expertise with the automotive world. He was betting that the future of the automobile was electric. This was 2003, long before the world cared about electric vehicles. In 2008, BYD launched the F3DM, claimed to be the world's first mass-produced plug-in hybrid car, a bet that almost no one believed in. And that same year, validation came from the most unlikely figure. Warren Buffett, through Berkshire Hathaway, invested approximately $230 million for a 9.89% stake in BYD. Buffett's partner, Charlie Munger, described Wang Chuanfu as a combination of Thomas Edison and Jack Welch. The world's most legendary investor was placing his bet on a virtually unknown Chinese company. That bet would eventually multiply many times over. But before we get there was one secret weapon that changed everything. Throughout the 2010s, while the world wasn't paying attention, BYD quietly built its foundation. Electric buses dominating cities around the world, monorails, solar panels, and even its own semiconductors. Then in 2020, a breakthrough arrived that changed everything. Its name, the Blade battery. This is an LFP battery, lithium iron phosphate, in the form of a revolutionary long blade. When a typical electric vehicle battery is pierced with a nail, it can burst into intense flames. The Blade battery passed the nail penetration test without catching fire at all, safer, cheaper, and more space-efficient. And because BYD manufactures its own batteries, even mining its own raw lithium, They hold a cost advantage that no competitor can replicate. This is the core of BYD's strength: extreme vertical integration. From lithium mines to finished vehicles, everything is in their own hands. Today, their factories run at nearly 97% automation. With a digital twin system, a single minor change to one component instantly updates the entire vehicle design across the board. Because they manufacture nearly every part of the car themselves, they can develop new vehicles in a fraction of the time it takes any competitor. Now brace yourself for the numbers, because BYD's growth isn't just fast, it's exponential. In 2019, BYD sold around 455,000 units. In 2021, 740,000 units, still seemingly unremarkable. But then something exploded. 2022, 1.9 million units, more than double in a single year. 2023, 3 million units. 2024, 4.27 million units. 2025, 4.6 million units. Net profit in 2022 alone surged more than 400% in a single year. 2024 revenue broke through $107 billion. But what's even more staggering than the sales figures is the human figures. 2021, 280,000 employees. 2022, 570,000. 2024, nearly 1 million. BYD is now the largest private sector employer in China. One company, nearly 1 million people. But what frightens competitors most isn't the size of its workforce. It's the army of engineers behind it. BYD has roughly 110,000 R&D engineers, the largest research team of any automaker in the world. For context, the Volkswagen Group's R&D division employs around 60,000 people. And here's the most staggering fact of all. In 2024, BYD filed an average of 32 patents every single working day. By early 2025, that number had climbed to around 50 patents per working day. Their total R&D investment has surpassed 160 billion yuan, roughly $22 billion, and of the tens of thousands of fresh graduate applicants they take in, nearly 70% hold a master's or doctoral degree. This is not a car company that happens to make batteries. This is a technology company that happens to wrap them into a car. And here is what most people miss. When BYD began exporting around the world, they ran into a new problem, one that exists in no business textbook. The cost of chartering car carrier vessels exploded, reaching as high as $150,000 per day in 2024. It was brutally eating into their export margins. BYD's solution, quintessentially them, build it themselves. BYD poured $687 million into constructing their own fleet of ro-ro vessels. One of them, the BYD Shenzhen, is the largest car carrier ship in the world, capable of transporting 9,200 vehicles in a single voyage. With their own fleet, the shipping cost per vehicle dropped by 30 to 40%, saving up to $1.4 billion a year. No other automaker in the world has done this. But the shipping fleet is just one piece of a far larger strategy, because BYD doesn't simply want to export cars. They want to sell across every price segment at once. At the bottom end sits the BYD Seagull, an electric car priced at around $10,000. Compact, affordable, and a direct threat to the global automotive industry. At the top end, BYD has built 4 luxury brands: BYD, Denza, Fangchengbao, and Yangwang, each targeting a distinct segment of the market. And then there's the Yangwang U9. An electric supercar that can spin in place and literally dance, powered by 4 independent electric motors. In its most extreme form, the U9 Extreme produces nearly 3,000 horsepower, and in September 2025, it recorded a top speed of 496 kilometers per hour, making it the fastest production car in the world, surpassing both Bugatti and Koenigsegg. It also conquered the legendary Nürburgring circuit as the fastest production EV ever to lap it. At the 2026 Beijing Auto Show, a single U9 Extreme sold for $2.76 million, and Wang Chuanfu handed over the keys himself. The company that once copied mobile phone batteries is now selling a hypercar priced like a luxury mansion, but BYD isn't done yet. In March 2025, BYD unveiled its Super E platform, featuring 1 megawatt charging capability. What that means in practice, 400 kilometers of range can be added in just 5 minutes. As fast as filling up a tank of gas. The target: build 20,000 flash charging stations across China. This is no longer just about cars. It's about infrastructure. But no empire is immune. And this is where the BYD story gets even more compelling, because in early 2026, for the first time, cracks began to show. In the first quarter of 2026, Tesla reclaimed the top spot in pure EV sales. BYD's pure EV sales in China dropped 25.5% compared to the previous year. The causes came from within: a brutal price war in China, shifting subsidies, and a slowing economy. BYD's profits fell for several consecutive quarters. Concerns emerged over hidden debt and pressure on suppliers. For the first time, the foundation felt shaky. But just as the domestic market weakened, its exports exploded, up 56% in the first quarter of 2026, 321,000 units shipped to every corner of the globe. New factories opened in Hungary, Turkey, Brazil, and Indonesia. In Australia, BYD had already overtaken Tesla as the #1 electric vehicle brand. The strategy was clear: if the domestic market is saturated, conquer the world. Export target for 2026, 1.5 to 1.6 million units. And so this is the story of BYD. From an orphaned farmer's son with a loan of 250,000 yuan to a company with nearly 1 million employees and its own fleet of ships. From copying Sony batteries to selling the world's fastest produced cars. The core secret has always been the same for 30 years. Master everything in-house. Batteries, chips, motors, factories, even the ships. Nothing is bought if it can be built. A simple philosophy that has quietly reshaped an entire global industry. Elon Musk used to laugh at them. Now the entire global auto industry is holding its breath, waiting for BYD's next move. Only one question remains. Will the price war on their home turf become their first real stumbling block, or merely a pause before the next great leap? The question is yours. Can anyone stop BYD? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more stories behind the world's other industrial giants, subscribe now because there's still a lot left to uncover.